Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I am Debbie Damasio, and we are here today with Will Steele. Welcome, Will.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Where are you coming from? We didn't get a chance to talk speak where you're coming, where you are.
I am right on the west coast of Ireland in a place called Sligo, overlooking the ocean right now as we speak.
Oh my gosh, I'm visual, so I love to see that. Oh my God, that's so incredible. I'm coming from California. I'm in Northern California today, looking out at San Francisco, the Bay Bridge, and the Golden Gate Bridge, and the Richmond San Rafael Bridge. So we're on the water, enjoying our views. Well, glad to
Beautiful.
have you today. Excited to jump in. Every time I have a guest, I just learn new things all the time. So, having coached with individuals from all walks of life, including CEOs, top business executives, entrepreneurs, rocket scientists, politicians, senior military and civil service personnel, psychologists, world champion athletes, celebrities, musicians, and religious leaders from all denominations, including Tibetan monks, Will has developed the unique ability to quickly identify what blocks people from being effective in producing breakthrough results. From an ontological perspective, Will can guide you to see and conquer what you have been blind to and blocked by, enabling you to act free from your limiting beliefs and constraints. Earlier in life, Will graduated from the Royal Air Force College Cranwell with the Leadership Trophy, flew as a military pilot for 10 years, and then as a commercial pilot for 2 years, while fully able to think on his feet in highly challenging real life, dangerous situations. The sensitivity and listening skills needed for the civilian and business worlds were honed in that personal development arena. With his ability to listen from the ontological perspective, Will delivers unprecedented results that will far exceed your expectations. Well, after that bio, you're hired.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. There's just too many places. Let's start from the beginning. Where were you raised? What was life like? And did you know you'd be where you are today when you were a young person?
No, yeah, absolutely no idea. I was brought up in the north of England on that what they call the Pennines, which is kind of a rude place. It's cold, wet most of the year. Um, in the winter, it's freezing with snow and ice and all of that. And we lived in a farmhouse, and my mother delivered milk. So from the age of 3, every morning would be out the door by 6 o'clock, off to the dairy farm, load up the milk, and deliver bottles of milk to people's houses. And then later we did that before I went to school, and I did that all the way till about I don't know 19 before I finally went off to university. So um, yeah, so that was life. It was I had no idea about what else was outside of that small village and that small township. I went skiing when I was about 12 with the school, and we went to Italy. And there were people with Mercedes and fur coats, and it's like, wow, wow, what is this? There's a world outside of my world, right? So that got my curious.
Okay.
You know, yeah. And so I started to. I've always been interested in people and different
Mm.
lifestyles. I mean, it's a long time ago, but I remember we had the first in my village. Everybody was white, right? For the first Asian family move in, and I was just wanted to get to know them and was interested
Right.
in their food and what their country's like and all of that stuff. And that's never stopped. I've been all over the world now and led programs in many different countries to lots of different kinds of people and different cultures. You know, I always say to people, say, what's it like when you go to a different culture? I mean, is it really, really different? I said, what do you mean really, really different? I could lead in Boston, Massachusetts, and then go to New York. It ain't the same. You
Right.
just go down the road to Philadelphia, and it's very, very different again. But then you go to Cleveland, Ohio. Oh my God, it's like a time warp, you know? Then go to
It's so
LA, and everybody's all lovey and touchy feely. I mean, it's like, you know, wherever you go on the
that's
planet, what we find underneath all of it are people are people. People are
right.
human beings. And
That's
once
true.
we get through the veneer and the pretenses and the mask, and people get back to being themselves, That's where the real power. I mean, that's what my book's all about. It's called Free to Lead, but it's really free to live, free to really be you in life.
So tell us a little bit about that book.
It's called Free to Lead: Unleash Your Hidden Leadership Genius. It took me 14 months to write it. It's quite poetic or romantic the way it came about, because I was never going to write a book. I thought, I don't want to write a book. Why would I do that? What's the point of a book? You've got to be able to talk to people and deal with them and work with them to get a result. In a book, you just get information. You come away with a bit. Oh, that's a nice tip. Oh yeah, I'll remember that. Oh yeah, but it doesn't alter your life.
Right.
But I was leading a program in Casablanca, and I now lead leadership programs in the Middle East. And I thought, they don't know who I am. I'm this white guy. I don't speak Arabic. Why should they listen to me? You know? And I thought,
Right.
I need to write a book. I need to write a book and get them to get who I am, but more importantly, what it is we're doing here, because it is not new. It's not normal in the Arabic culture. So I started, and the title was Free to Lead, because we're freeing these people up to be leaders. I was asked by a client, actually, to create a leadership program for the Middle East. He says, particularly for women, you know,
Oh,
very, very hard for women out there to be leaders. And what I discovered after meeting with and talking with many, many people out there, and particularly women leaders, is that they struggle to be heard in a very male dominated environment. And typically they'll end up kind of leading like a man. And that's not powerful, or as powerful as when you can be fully yourself as a woman in her feminine energy and lead as a woman. It's just as powerful, believe you. It's,
so what do
you
you
know,
share? How some tips you share with them to get them? I mean, that just seems opposite of them leading in those countries. So how do you train them to see things differently?
well, the program's 4 days, right? So it's not. I can't just give you. That's like getting a
No,
book, right? Give you a
yeah,
tip. You got to first get. It's not. If you're trying to be something other than really you, then it's never as powerful as when you can fully be yourself. But people can't be themselves. They've got a barriers to being themselves, and the barriers are not just experiences, but beliefs that you've picked up along the way, limiting beliefs. And you know, I wrote this book. It took me 14 months to write it, rewrite it, restructure it, rewrite it, because I realized about a third of the way in, it needs to be in two parts. The first part, before we start creating you as a leader, as an authentic leader, first we've got to get you to be authentically you.
got
So,
it.
as in the program, all the programs I lead, we're distinguishing where you stopped being you and started having to be some other way than you really are. And so it could be a question you could give to people to answer your question. Where do people start? Well, you know, uh, where did it stop? Where were you? No, here's a better question. Um, what could you never be? So if you look at that for yourself, Debbie, like
Right,
just because we're hanging out here, right? What could you never be? For me, one of them was I could never be intellectually smart. I'm not like an academic. And that,
right,
and that for me was just the way it was. Some people seem to just read something once and they got it. Well, I'm not
right,
that. I have to kind of read it.
right.
So that was one for me. So for you, if you look back at your life, what's something you could never be?
Well, that's true. That's similar for me. I have to, so when set out last year, it wasn't intentional. I wasn't going to write another book. It's my sixth book, Mindset in Motion. But when I decided I had decided actually to practice and take a course for a TEDx talk, but as I was taking the course, I realized I needed to find clarity because there was no way I could speak by memorizing. I need to do whatever I'm talking about has to be from my heart and so authentically me and my story, because
Mhm.
I can't speak any other way. I can speak to you like this, but I cannot speak just I can't memorize something. So as I started taking notes to decide what I'd want that talk to be specifically, I said, "Oh God, I have to write another book because I need to find popularity. And so 14 or a year later, now I'm about to publish it in the next day or two. It's with the editor and ready to be published. But I needed so I'm not academically smart either in that way. It's not in my DNA.
Yeah, it's not quite the same though. Okay, so if you notice, this is what people do when you give them an answer. They glob on to what you said. And when I'm working with a coach, I will never try to summarize what they said. I want their actual words. So it may be in that domain, but how would you actually say it for yourself? If you look back in your experience of yourself, what would you say? I'm not
Well,
smart, or
I
I'm
would say
not.
how I say it is I've been married for 35 years and I say I'm not smart like my husband. He's like his nickname is Google. He listens to something, hears something, digests it, you can't ask him to go against him on anything because he'll have data and he'll be able to have a conversation with you. I don't watch the news. I can't just it's too much for me, but I can speak from things that I do really well and I'm very
Yeah,
passionate, but I can't break down information. I'm not going to argue about something. I'm not going to dissect something like that. And I just don't take it in that way and that deep. It has to be something I'm passionate about.
yes, yes, yes. So if you look even before your husband, then, so what you're not, or you could never be is,
Book smart,
okay, got
maybe.
it, got it, got it. Now, growing up, who was that person?
I guess when I was growing up, there were the people who were in the advanced learning, there was some advanced programs even in elementary school, and I wasn't in those.
And who was?
Um,
Someone specific was. Who was?
I like Victor Lee, like the Asian kids, who are very
Ah,
book smart. And there was a few girls who were in it, but I think of Victor Lee and uh, Jeff Lee, but Bill Gay. I can tell you the names from elementary school. This is like from first grade.
yeah, but that's because it made such an impression. So there you go. Look at, was it Victor Lee?
Victor Lee.
So there you are, looking over at Victor Lee, and Victor Lee's, what's happening? What's he doing? What's he doing that you're like, oh, I can't do that. That's not me.
Probably just that he's in the advanced class and he seemed really smart and I'm sure he was really smart and he was very, studious and
Yeah.
it just yeah.
So right there and then, how old are you when this happened? You said first grade, so don't know
Yeah,
what that
like
is.
your first grade probably when I noticed first, second grade when you noticed who the kids are that are definitely more studious.
But how old is that? Because I'm from England, so I don't know
Oh,
that.
probably like 8, 9,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah. Good.
Yeah,
So you got to get an 8-year old, put you in a box called "I'm not smart. I'm not academic. I'm not book smart." An
right.
eight-year-old, like it's true.
And he didn't do it to me. It didn't.
No, no, they didn't do it. It's you had that thought. Things happen. It's never what happened. It's what you decide in that moment, and then you find
Right.
evidence, and then you'll start behaving consistent with what you've decided.
Hmm.
So I don't. It's funny. I can relate to what you're saying because I did a spelling test and they put me in the B group. They didn't put me in the A group. I went, oh, I'm not good at spelling. So guess what? I never tried after that, and that was about the same age, about 8 years old. So I never developed spelling until I was leading programs and writing stuff on the board and making spelling mistakes. Now you do that in London, it's like vampires and there's blood on the floor. They're after you. You know, you missed a comma there. What the hell? You don't put commas there. That bloody. I mean, it's like Monty Python. It's hilarious. Um, so I go, oh, got, and I've discovered there was the moment for me. There I was. I'm no good at spelling, so I obviously didn't do any more work on spelling. And all spelling is learning how to spell words, and
Right. Right.
they don't all follow the same rules. So you have to know which ones are different, and you learn. Now I can spell. There's some words I don't spell. I have to look them up. But I'm a way better speller than I ever was or thought I could be. Whereas you're not book smart. I bet you. Well, let me ask you: did you then work harder at book stuff, or did you go and do other things.
No, I was always a rule follower. I always did what I was supposed to do. In my book, I talk about how when I went to college, I still went to class at 8:30 because I thought you had to class at 8:30. And someone said, you can go to school, you can make your own schedule. If you want to go at noon, you can go at noon. But like, no, no. So I always tried my best and,
Yeah.
you know, but I wasn't fooling around by any means. I was doing what I could.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I thought maybe, given what you said, a couple of things similar about, I can speak from my heart and then, I would say emotionally or feelings based person, right? Versus
Yeah,
an intellectual sort of person. You're more in but you become that, you know, given you're not that. So when we're not that, we do that, the other,
right.
right? I mean, I
Absolutely.
don't know. I mean, this is very fast and we're moving quite quickly and just dipping in and out of stuff. But
Yeah, no, it's
but
all good.
it's
It's all
interesting how we become limited and don't realize it. And that in my book, that's these limiting beliefs that we don't think we have limiting beliefs.
right.
It's not a limiting belief. I just am that way, or it is
Right.
that way, or they are that way. Versus you don't realize you made that up somewhere.
Right. So you've coached such a wide range of high performers. What's the common thread that holds people back? What are some of those limiting beliefs?
Well, high performers generally produce results. So work hard. Um, uh, uh, really, yeah, I would say work hard is one of the common ones, right? Where people really work hard and they keep going and they never stop. Or they have to be the best, or they're competitive, which is what mine was. I was competitive, right? So um, the common thing with all of them is there's been a moment in the past where they felt in some way insufficient or less than or not enough. So they decided to be this to make up for not being that. So
Okay.
me not being smart, I need to work hard. So I work hard. I can produce the result, the same result. But for me, it's not because I'm smart, it's because I've worked hard. I got a degree in electronics. And my brother said, God, you're so smart. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, no, I just worked hard, man. But you do have to work hard. You do have to work to learn that stuff. But for me, that's because I wasn't smart. It's because I just worked hard. So even when you produce the results, it actually reminds you of the thing you're not. So it's never fulfilling. So
Mm,
I've led the program. I've led the program in Los Angeles. I've led it in south of Los Angeles. What's it called? Orange County, right? Some
uh-huh.
very super rich people there. For getting dropped off in the Mercedes and coming in with their sunglasses on and all fancy, and they don't need any of this, and they're above it all. But you get 2 days in, and you realize they're on antidepressants, cheating on their husbands or wives, plastic surgery, and it's still not enough. They still need to have this done or that done, and they're not okay with themselves. But on the outside, they look fantastic. They look perfect. They look like everyone else wants to be like them. But inside, they know it's not real. So the common theme that runs through people is some level of, we're kind of putting on a mask. We're kind of putting on a show. We're not really ourselves. And then the sneaky one is those people that say, no, I don't care what anybody thinks. Well,
Mm.
that's a great way to cover up, right? That's a great way to actually cover up. So that's also a pretense. So uh, we human beings we used to say it this way when I was at Landmark, we used to say, we're pretending and pretending we're not pretending.
Right. Now, how do you peel back the onion on that? So you figure this out, you figure out what these limiting beliefs are. What are some of the tools you use to help people get over that or to get through that door?
Well, before you get to limiting beliefs, you got an access in to if you don't feel you can fully be yourself with a person or in a situation, you're not being the real you because you can be your full self. When you were
Right.
born, you were hungry. Everybody in the world knew you were hungry. You scream your head off. You got no problem. But then you get language and you start talking to yourself and you start making stuff up about them and about you. So the first the first sort of axis in isn't what's my limiting belief, it's where am I not able to just be myself? And with whom am I particularly not able to be with myself? And it's not them, it's that they're giving you an access to now inquiring into, going back and looking and seeing where's this come from? Where did I stop? Where did I worry about what other people think? How long has that been going on? You know? And that was, it's an inquiry, so it takes some time generally. Um um but when yeah, so if you read the book, you've got all the time in
Yep.
the world, right? You can read the book and you can take I say people can read my book probably in about 3 or 4 hours. But I don't want you to read the book that way. I want you to read a chapter and let that digest for a couple of days and do the exercise, and then
Right.
come back and do another chapter. Um, um, because I wrote it that way. I wrote it in a way to peel back, as you said, the layers of the onion. To get
Right.
to what's actually the real you.
Right. I love it. Well, I can't wait to read it. We'll be right back. We're going to go to a quick commercial break and we'll be right back with Will Steele.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with Will Steele. He's coming to us from Ireland. So, Will, you mentioned an ontological perspective. What does that actually mean in practical terms?
Practical terms, that's hard to answer. Let me just first start by kind of defining that ontological. So,
Yeah.
ontology is the study of being. But we're not really interested in the being of a mountain, although, sometimes when we see a mountain, we're kind of knocked back by it. It actually speaks to you. So it has a being. But we're really interested in the being of human being, because being is something, once you start to get this work, that you have access to. This is the way you look, and you can do some things about that, but, fundamentally the way you look, you're as tall as you are. But who you're being is, once, because we have language and how we talk to ourselves, what we say about ourselves to ourselves and to others, starts to shape how we show up. So language and being are connected. In fact, Heidegger said, and this takes a lot of trying to understand, and I thought I'd understood this, and after 20 years, I had a Heidegger scholar get me to get what I'd understood this to mean wasn't what it meant, which is language is the house of being. So if I'm saying to myself, I'm an idiot, guess what? I show up underconfident. Or if I do something and it turns out not to be the correct thing, I'll beat myself up because I'm such an idiot and I hate myself and blah 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 blah. See that's all impacting the being of who we are. I won't explain that. I won't explain that statement I said. Language is the house of being, because
Okay.
that's like a whole lecture on its own, right? But you know what you think about, the thoughts you have about yourself that you believe, the this automatics that we are. There's a way that we're showing up in the world. If you look at psychology, with psychology you'll get an explanation, and you end up at the effect of that. Oh, I'm this or I'm that. Whereas ontology starts with, well, who you're being. What do you mean? Well, who you're being right now? Oh, you're angry. Interesting. You're being angry right now. Now, there's a world of difference between I am angry and I have anger. I had a participant in a program I was leading in. I think it was in London. Yes, it was in London. And this guy, he wasn't quite suicidal, but he was having those thoughts because he was so sick of his experience of life. He was depressed, right? So it just feels horrible. I wake up in the morning and it's horrible. I'm just so depressed. Now, I'm going to shorten a very long interaction. This is an ontological inquiry with him and getting him to get that there's a difference between I have depression and I'm depressed. So I ended up writing it on the board, big whiteboard. I wrote, I'm depressed versus I have depression. And you might not get quite the power of this, but he at some point just was like, oh my God, wait, I'm not depressed. I have depression. They're not the same. I said, that's
So
right.
I was, so it was almost, he was diagnosed. He felt he diagnosed himself and maybe there was medication to help him.
No, he related to himself as depressed. I am depressed. Better if we could write it out, right? I am depressed is not the
Right,
same as I have depression.
right. And it really helped him break through.
Well, look, if you had a stomach ache, let's say you had a stomach ache, okay, and you don't say, "Oh, I'm a stomach ache." No, you go, "I have a stomach ache." You're not
Right.
walking around like you are the stomach ache.
That's
Um,
actually a really good example.
you know, so see, oh, I have a headache. You don't say, oh, I'm such a headache right now. You don't say I am it. So that's easy. But with things
Right.
like depression, it's so subtle, but it's totally a different world. I am depressed versus I have depression. Tell me, you have depression. What's that like? Well, I feel like heavy in my midriff, right? Like that. And I feel lethargic, and I am, I don't want to get out of bed. I have this resistance to getting out of bed. Oh, I see. So that's what having depression is like. Yeah, okay. But are you depressed? And it literally, he said, he was like jumping around the room. He goes, look, I have depression, but I'm okay.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh,
It was life altering for this person when he got the difference between I have depression versus I am depressed. And people listening who might be in that space, because a lot of people have anxiety and go, oh, I'm so anxious, I'm anxious, I'm anxious. No, no, no. You have some anxiousness in your stomach, don't you? Yes. Great. Well, look at that. Oh, yeah, it's there. Okay, good. Put your finger on it. Yeah, I put my finger on it. All right, great. Now, watch. It's there. Where are you? What do you mean? You've got that stuff going on in your stomach right now. And if you're listening, you could do this, right? I've got that going on in my stomach, but okay, where is that? Well, it's there. Well, if it's there, where are you? Well, I'm here. Oh, I'm here and it's there. Yeah, so you're not it.
that's very powerful. So now with that, do you, in your coaching, do you now you're able to break down all the different ailments of the depression or the anxiety. Is that what you do next?
Yeah, I'm using depression and anxiety to try to get across to you this world of ontology, the study of being, and what's
Okay.
having us be the way we're being. If you are that, if I am that, I am depressed. That shapes everything about me, my whole experience of life, and how I show up in the world, doesn't it?
Right. I could say the other day I was super stressed. I was just trying to get the book finished and the edits done, and I'm going back and forth with someone in Nigeria, and I just
Yeah,
no control. I was so stressed out. But now if I say I have stress, it doesn't make me as stressed. I just did it on myself.
yeah,
I have stress. Okay, I have stress, but it's
yeah,
not, oh my God, I'm so stressed out and everything that goes along with that when I become so stressed out.
yeah. And if you were practiced in the art of this, you could go, okay, wait, hold on. Let's get the facts here. There's this. All right, great. And then there's that, and there's that, and there's that. Good. I can't get that one to that one. That's what's happening. Anything else? No. Like that. Oh, okay. And then you can breathe, right? Because you've got the thing outside of you to what it is, black and white. That's what we've got. Okay. All right. Well, we need to do this, and we need to get that to work. If you're running a business and you're all wrapped up in all of what we just talked about, very hard to be clear and make good business decisions because we're caught up in that stuff. And when you're able to get sane, get sanity by clearing everything out that's going on until you get to being in the moment, present, then everything's simple, straightforward.
And how long did it take to help that gentleman? It sounded like he had a pretty big aha moment.
Yeah, it was about 20 minutes, I imagine. I mean, it's a long time ago, that particular one, but I like to use that one because I learned something in that interaction, because I've said things like that, but watch this guy's life, his whole being, everything about him lit up. And he had those sensations in his stomach and stuff, but he was not going to be given by that. That doesn't define him. All right, I have that. Okay, some people have rheumatic joints. They have painful joints. I have this. It's got nothing to do with who I am. I'm who I say that I am.
Right. I love that. So you've operated in high stakes environments as a pilot. How has that shaped your coaching?
Um, I think a lot in my training, I was able to be, and my past coaches might argue with that, some of that. I was able to be disciplined in the training. For me, I didn't find it particularly arduous. I did officer training twice, to be a pilot. You have to be an officer in the UK in the Royal Air Force. And I failed officer training first time because, as it happens, I was trying to be what I thought they wanted versus just being myself. And the
Int-
second time, when I failed, they said, you're just not, I mean, officers need to speak up. You're not speaking up. I can't graduate you. So my flight commander gave me a choice to either do the program again or leave the Air Force. No problem. You just go. I said, well, I want to be a pilot, so no question. I'm going to do it again. And then I
Wow.
got back to my room and I went, Jesus, I've been trying to be what I'm supposed to be. And my friends advised me to be, keep your head down. Don't mouth off, just be quiet. Don't stand out. Just get through. And I tried to
Right.
do that and it didn't work. I got found out. So I promised myself I was just going to be myself. I'm just going to be myself, and that's it. Too bad. If you don't like it, it's not meant to be. And I walked out of there 18 weeks later with the leadership trophy. So there's
Wow.
something in this being yourself, being the real you, being you.
Absolutely. I talk about that a lot when I'm training. We have a real estate company, and when I'm training agents, the first thing I said is there's many agents in our community. Just be yourself, be your authentic self. I love your story. It really points to
Thank you.
that.
Yeah,
Abs- What's the biggest
yeah.
misconception about success? You've clearly worked with many, many successful people in all levels and all fields. What's the biggest misconception about success?
What springs to mind when you say that is that there is somewhere to get.
Mm,
Like we're trying to get someplace. We're trying to get there. We're making it. We're on our way. We're nearly there. You find it's if you're climbing, I've done some mountain climbing, right? And you climb you think you get into the peak, you get to the top, right? And you know what? You couldn't see it, but there's another mountain. The mountain goes on behind you. It's called a false peak. And in people, oh man, it's a bit of a longer conversation, but it's like
Okay.
you go along and you get the result, and it doesn't fix what you think that was going to fix. So for me, having to be the best was to make up for. I decided when I was 3 that I wasn't wanted. They didn't plan me as a baby. My dad told me, he said, we didn't plan you, and we already had 2 boys, so we thought it'd be nice to have a little girl, and you popped out. You should have been a little girl. I was like, oh man, they didn't want me in the first place, and they wanted a girl. Right, I'm the best. See, being the best, which is all linked to success and having to win, was my answer to make up for not being what I believed was I wasn't wanted. Not what my dad said. He didn't actually say that. He said we didn't plan a baby. I mean, how many
Right.
babies are unplanned? So I spent my whole life having to do that, and every time I accomplished something, I accomplished some big stuff. I won all my school sports day races. Um, I got the top apprenticeship in my engineering work, and then I got to university. Then I got into the Air Force, and then I got to be a fast jet pilot and it was never it. I thought if I got fast jet wings, that would be it. I've made it, right? But I remember sewing them on when I got them. I got this big ceremony on, went upstairs to my room, came back down, and then looking around and going, oh, everyone else is wearing them. This can't be it. Now what? What? I was like, you need the next thing to go for, because unless you're going for something, because it's never it, and you've never got enough money, and you've never got enough accolades, and you've never got enough nice looking things. It never ever does it. So there's nothing wrong with being successful,
Right.
okay, but mostly the illusion is there's somewhere to get to, that
Right.
then I'll be happy, or then it'll be enough. But if it's inside of, if you haven't done the work, it's going to be inside of making up for something which you can never make up for. So it never fixes the thing.
So how do you get, so I think of when you're talking of visual, so you're getting to the top of the mountain, you're getting to the top where you're gonna
Yeah.
finally relax, but you don't. So how would you break it down to a young person? Let's just break it down to a young person. How would you describe to success simply to them? We know it's not to get to this pinnacle because there's another mountain behind it. And then it's not enough. Like, you are clearly a high achiever. My gosh, everything you've done is incredible. So how would you tell someone else? Maybe not yourself, because maybe you're still trying to figure it out. But what would you
No,
tell
no,
a young?
no. No, first, I wouldn't go to the success thing. I go back to, what's driving you right now. Oh, sorry, my microphone just dropped here. So consider we're driven and we don't realize we're driven. Like, we have to produce the result, or it's like life depends on me being successful in this thing. Okay. So what's driving that? So I would go backwards. See, the other title to my book, which I still might write, this book was called, but I did leadership because we're in the Middle East, right? And I think I might have limited the people who might choose to read it because, oh, I'm not a leader. But everyone can be a leader. But that's another story. The book would be Go Back to Move Forward. So if you're not able to move forward, it's because what you imagine in your future is coming from some limiting belief in your past of what that's going to be like, or you've got to avoid this or not have that. So I would go back to, okay, what's driving all of that, and get somebody to get there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you. And you're not stupid. And it doesn't mean anything. All right, you didn't get into that class. All right, it doesn't mean you couldn't do the kind of work to get into that class, or you're good at it. It doesn't mean everything we make it mean. And once you get it, doesn't actually mean anything. It's not good or bad. It's just what it's just the thing. It's does not. It's just Then you can create what you're up to in life. What would be an expression for you that'd be so great, it'd just be wonderful, or it could make a difference to others, or it could be fulfilling for you. You're coming at what you're going to aim at from a different place. So you're not trying to accomplish something to look good, which is what I was doing. I want to be the best, so I have to prove I'm the best. Oh, no, see, I'm the best. Oh, but now I'm in a different school and there's all these other people. Now I don't get to be the best amongst all these people. It's like so going on all the time versus I don't need to prove anything. Okay. And what do I want to create in life? What do I want? What do I actually want? What would be fulfilling for me?
And when you
Because you
were
see, it's different.
when you were working to be a pilot, and that's clearly hard. But when you were working towards that, I know you wanted to achieve it to be successful in number one. But did you enjoy it along the way? Was it fulfilling along the way?
It was the best. It was the best. I mean, flying around with an airplane strapped to your butt, at 250 feet at 550 miles an hour. It's 420 knots, right? Whichever that is. Like, that's 7 miles a minute. So in every minute, you're traveling 7 miles, right? At 250 feet. That's amazing. And then you go with two or three friends and you're all in close formation while you're doing that, and just whizzing around. I mean, it's just like there's nothing else like that. I mean, where else can you get that? Maybe a racing car driver.
Correct. Not that what you I would like to be a passenger in your airplane. I would love to do that. That's a bucket list thing. So your
Mm,
success was in you in the doing. So I would have to say, if I was to speak to the young person, the success that you had at that time was in the doing. You were successful. You were doing it. Yes, you
yeah,
passed. You got to the higher up. Is there anything you would add to how do you like you have all these you work with athletes and they're at the top of their game and then someone is higher and then someone beats them and beats their record, so how do you help them with their mindset?
very good. So, it's very good. I mean, I got a friend. He's now a friend, right? He's world boxing was a world boxing champion. So he's a world boxing champion. He's no longer boxing. Obviously, he's retired now. But what drove him was when he was 6, his sister pinned him down. She was older than him, and she dangled a hair in his face and tickled his face. And he just decided he's weak. So he became a boxer, so no one can beat him up anymore. And it wasn't until he was 32 that he won the world title. So all those years were just about trying to fix something, you know? I would look at, if I was talking to a young person, what do you love? What do you love? And if you don't know what it is, try a few things out until you find what you really love. And when you really love something, do that. Go and, what would what could you do about that would really be great, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
find what you love and do that. Go that way round rather than I need to do, I got to be the best at whatever it is I do. No, no, no. What is it you really want to do? Fine, then
Right.
be the best. I mean, but don't have it be about being the best. Have it be about being the best you can be for yourself to get the most enjoyment out of what you're doing.
Absolutely, because you're going to be doing it. If it's something you're going to be doing, it's going to be, hopefully you'll be doing it for a long time. So we don't have a lot of time, but I want to ask some more questions. What makes your approach different from traditional coaching or personal development?
Um, well, I'll talk about the other, right? Because I've come across a lot of other coaching. I've been in coaching programs for coaches and things like that. A lot of the times out of I want to educate myself. Um, and mostly today, coaching is I've gone from A to B. I'm going to show you how to do it so you don't make all the mistakes I make and you'll do it in a quicker time. And
Mm,
that's mostly what coaching seems to be at the moment. So it's not really coaching, it's more teaching or
okay.
mentoring people.
Right,
Whereas
right.
I'm about performance, right? So if you're not performing, we've got to look at what's in the way of you performing. And some limiting belief, some thing you're not seeing about what's going on, or you're just not being creative enough. I've made people millions and millions of dollars because I asked them simple questions. I had
Right.
an art dealer, and he only dealt exclusively with one artist, which was his father, who was at the time still alive. Now he's not. And he said, I haven't sold a painting or a piece of art for 3 months. He said, the whole market stopped. This was in the pandemic. He said, nobody's selling because everyone's holding on to their art. So I haven't been able to make any sales. I said, well, how many paintings did your father make? He goes, well, we've got the catalog. We know where everything is. I said, "Well, how many's in the catalogue?" 2,500. I said, "Wow, how many paintings he painted?" He said, "Well, no, he did more than that. We just don't have them all in the catalogue because we don't know where they are." I said, "Well, how many did he paint?" And they think, "Well, probably about 5,000." I said, "What? These paintings are $1 million each, right?" I'm saying, "Well, where are they?" He goes, "Well, I don't know. In his 30s and 40s, he went to Venezuela and he just sold his paintings. He didn't keep a record of who he sold them to." I said, "I'm going to Venezuela." He said, don't go there. It's very dangerous." Okay. I said, "But there's got to be a way to connect, to find these paintings." I said, "Why don't you, put some adverts out or something and say, hey, if you find one of these paintings and you bring us to it and we verify it and it goes to auction, we'll give you a percentage. Even if it's not your painting, you just connected us with the owner." I go,
Wow.
"Oh, that's a good idea." For me, it was just obvious, right? But he couldn't see that and he didn't think of that because you don't when you're in your own bubble. You don't see it. That's why a
Wow.
coach can ask you questions and
Right.
inquire with you. And he came back 6 weeks later. Do you know how much money he made in 6 weeks?
How much?
$17 million.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Wow. That is
because
incredible. Oh,
I hear what you're not see. I can hear or see what you're not seeing. That's not. I'm not a genius. I'm just not trapped inside of your view of things.
right. You're seeing things from an outside perspective. We have just a few seconds left. Biggest mindset shift people need.
Wow. You're not stuck with anything, right? You're not stuck with anything. Read my book, for crying out loud. Read
Yep.
Free to Lead, and
Okay. Free to
you will
lead.
open up. Free to Lead, Unleash Your Hidden Leadership Genius by Will
Okay. And
Steele.
where do we find your book?
Oh, Amazon. Amazon's the
Okay.
easiest place to get it. It's in other bookstores, but Amazon's the easiest for people. Just get it on
And then
Amazon.
can people coach with you or do you,
Yeah, willsteele.com. You can reach me there. Or in fact, you could just go info@willsteele.com and I'll get your email and then we'll set up a call. And, I work with people who are up to something, they're committed and they're coachable. Very important.
very important, very important.
Yeah.
Well, this was
Yeah.
incredible. I think I'm going to take a coaching session with you. I love this. I've interviewed all kinds
Gorgeous.
of, but I love this new spin and I could see it clearly. And I'm an overachiever, so I'll probably be your best student, but I'm curious to know what you can find. So I will reach out
Oh,
to
I've
you.
heard lots. I've heard lots of things already listening to you, and to have you really own your greatness and see it and have it out in the world. I mean, I can see massive results possible for you.
Well, I'm definitely because that keeps coming back when I'm speaking to my shamans and different people, and I've done a lot of things, but I said to my husband, even though I've written 6 books and we've launched a company in a recession with our partners, and I've been at real estate 35 years and done a lot of things, podcasts for 2.5 years, I still don't feel like I'm successful, and
There you go.
I'm enjoying everything I'm doing. I will tell you, everything I'm doing, I am enjoying.
Yes.
Wouldn't, but I still feel less than, and it's just how
Yeah.
I feel. I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
just how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
Reach
will,
out.
I'm your
Yeah.
next
You've got my
client.
email. You precisely. Right? So yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Great. We'll have a conversation. Love it. Been
Absolutely.
great. Been great. Thank you so much for the show. I haven't been on a
Yes.
live podcast before, so this is great. I've been on TV but a live podcast is different. It's great.
Here. They're probably watching us at our office right now and wherever else. I feel like I'm in a living room. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much. I look forward to taking this offline. What a great, great show. Thank you.
Debbie. Thank you.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbie DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.